everyone, it's Linda from Richter Stitcher again. I'm sorry I am late this month. More about that in a little bit, but I wanted to welcome you all back to my Flosstube. I thank you for returning if you're a returning viewer, or if you're new. Like I said, I'm Linda, and this is mostly about cross stitch. I started my Flosstube in January, so this is number 5, and I've just really enjoyed keeping track of my projects that I've been working on. Other than cross stitch, though, you'll find a little bit of other crafts mixed in that I talk about. I kind of am focusing more on cross stitch this year. In the past I've done crochet, and in the last couple years I picked up sewing and quilting, so I've just enjoyed learning a lot of new things, and I like to try everything. So I guess I feel a little scattered this month. Like I said, I usually try to do my Flosstubes on the 1st of every month, and it is now May the 5th, so I'm a few days late. Looking back at the calendar for April, this Flosstube will mainly contain my Wipgos that I worked on in April, and then what's coming up in the next month of this month, actually May. So let's get started. I'm going to try to do things fairly quickly here. I don't have a whole lot of time, but I want to share some things, so I might look over at my notes here just to make sure I don't forget anything. As for what I worked on last month in April, that's kind of where I want to start. Just a little bit of a recap. Looking at my calendar, I told myself I wanted to try to stitch every day of the month, but with Easter and decorating and undecorating, excuse me, I have to get some water. I haven't even started yet, and I've already got a dry throat. But looking at my calendar that I keep track of what I do each month, I was able to actually make my goals for Wipgo, so that is a plus. So I keep filling in the little squares of each project that I write up my goals for. My goals are pretty small, as those that are new. I said in my first Flosstube, with a grandbaby, I wasn't sure how high I should set those goals for cross stitching, and I'm a pretty slow cross stitcher. So because of that, I set them pretty low. But last month's projects were the brainchild of Jessie Marie for Wipgo. She picks numbers every 27th of the month, right around there. Sometimes it's earlier for the next month. So last month's numbers were 7 and 10, and for me those were 2 projects, and I'll reach down here to get those. Number 7 was a Plum Street Samplers project. A Handworks Pace is the one that I chose to put on that number. And if you go back to my previous Flosstube, you'll see how much I worked on there. I was looking for the card. It's right here. I'm doing it on a 40 count Weeks Dye Works, and it's called Straw. And I'm using NPI silks. So where I was from last time was a little further up here. So I finished a little on the border down here, and as you can see, I started some flowers. So I hope that's coming in well. I don't know how bright it is. I probably could turn on another light here. I always forget to do this. Ah, there we go. Not sure if that's showing or not, but there it is, the little green flowers. Was able to put in enough stitches in that to reach my goal for this project, which was Handworks Pace. Oh, here it is, 50 X's. So the border down here that I did some on, and then these all added up in there. And if I look at my other chart, I should always look ahead of time. I actually don't show how many X's I put in. I'd have to sit here and count them, and I'm not going to do that. So it was over 50 though, because I finished it on May the 21st. So that's where this will stop for now, and I will put this one in my little box until hopefully not before next year, but it just depends. I like working on little projects, or one project each month, so hopefully the rotation of this will come back in before a year from now, but we shall see. Whoops, my cuckoo. The other project for last month's Wipgo was actually that one was number 10. And number 7 was from Holt. It is a Bee in My Bonnet. She's from Bee in My Bonnet, and it's the one called So She Did Cross Stitch. And I plan on hanging this in my craft room when it's finished. And like I said with the previous ones, I did a little bit more than I thought I would on this, but once you start stitching in straight lines and across, it's easy. It's just you sit and you can do a whole line and not think about how many stitches it is. I'm going to take the grime guard off of this. I'm using the Aurifil called for threads with this project, and it's also done on a 14 count Aida in white. And from my notes, I was able to finish the scissors. Can get a little closer. I'm not sure if it's showing up very well, but I finished this side of the scissors, and there was only a few little blue line here from last time, so I did like I started on my 3rd row going across with the sewing machine, and then I started over here on the B, and I finished the C for could. So my goal for that one was, I think it was also, I always forget where these are at. If this is number 7, yeah, I said 50 X's, so there's plenty of, I did way more than 50 on this project, but I kept going, so that was enjoyable for me. So it's a fun stitch that I've enjoyed doing. So those were my 2 Wipgos for this month, and that one will also get put aside till next time. Then I'd like to share next month's Wipgo, and if you've watched other Flosstubers, they've probably shared the numbers with you already, but I'm going to share with you what mine are for this month. And let me turn this over to May. Whenever Jessie picks the number 13 on the chart, I can kind of show you in the middle. Some people use it as a free space and just put like an X in the center, but I actually put a project there, so that means I have to work on 3 projects this month. So 13 for me was one called a Purrfect Cat, and it's just a, I don't know what you call these, it's called a Stitchable project, and I can get it close up here. It's just a little cat, and the name of it, like I said, is called the Purrfect Cat, and perfect is spelled P-U-R-R-F-E-C-T, and it's done on an 11 count Aida. And the cotton threads, I'm not sure if they're DMC, only because this project was bought back in the 80s. It was one of my very first cross stitch patterns that I had, and this is where I left it off. So as a goal for Wipgo, I put on here to finish it, because that shouldn't take me a whole lot, and like you can see with the cat already, being outlined. I just have to fill in some of the coloring, the face, the words, and that little mouse that's on his backside. So I'm hoping by the end of May to be able to say I made my goal for that. So I'm looking forward to another finish maybe this month, because I've only had a couple in the 3 years that I've been stitching. So that's kind of exciting for me. So that's number 13 of the Wipgo numbers. And then the other numbers were 14. And for me, that is the project. I can't remember if it's a freebie, so I really can't show you the chart, but I can show you how much of it I've gotten done. But it's a Hello from Liz Matthews project. And I started this back in 2020. I think it was one of her freebies on her newsletter, if you subscribe to her newsletter. And she had, you know, you pick your colors, so you kind of choose your own colors, and it's going to be a heart. So I've gotten it outlined, and I've started on the inside, and then this will have, I think I have the word love will be here. And I did start it for an anniversary start for my husband and I, so it was back on our anniversary of 2020. So my goal for this one for next month is just 50 X's, so it's not going to be a finish, especially with all that's going on right now, but I look forward to getting back to a few stitches, maybe some more pink in there, or even start on the heart. I'm not sure. So it's just how I feel when I pick it up, where I want to start. So that's also done on a white Aida 14 count. And I'm using the DMC, I forget if they're called lights, but they have that little bit of sparkle in it. And then the variegated, and then some red DMC. So these two are the DMC. Well, they're all DMC, but one is a variegated, one's a sparkle, and then the other's just the red. 321 is that number, and then C603 is the lights number, and 107 is the variegated. So my thought was the pink sparkle would be the background. The solid red is the outline and the heart, and then the words love will be in the variegated. And hopefully that'll look all right when I get finished, but that's that project. And then my other number is number 8, since there's 3, and that one for me is another Hello from Liz Matthews, but it's the first day of Christmas. You've probably all seen it. That's what it looks like, and I'm not doing the tree, I'm just doing the picture. So I'm excited to keep going on that. And for flosses, I'm using a silk, but it's the DMC silk, so I converted the numbers on her chart to the DMC silks, which look like this. Or I guess some of them are silks, but then there's others that are metallics, so I've mixed a few. So there's about 3 metallics, and the rest are the silks from DMC. But I love the colors, and I think it'll look pretty for my first day of Christmas. I can show you where I'm at, where I'm starting. I actually started this back in July of 2020. It's done on a Picture This Plus 40 count fog linen. I can speak. But I started on the border here. It doesn't, I think this size, it's not going to be very big, which is probably better for my home because I don't have a lot of wall space. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and the goal for this one to complete is also 50Xs. I primarily did mostly 50Xs on a lot of the projects because for me that's, especially with 3 projects, that's pushing it. So hopefully I will make that goal in May, since we're already May 5th. So those are my Wipgo projects for this next month, and what my plans are for Wipgo. Next, I'd like to share what I've been working on in April besides those other projects. So yeah, I finished explaining my Wipgo, so I just was going to pick this up down here. Sorry guys, I feel kind of scattered today, but more about that in a minute. Being late doesn't help matters any, does it? I think I shared that I picked this freebie up from Long Dog Samplers. One of the floss tubers, Maria from Cup of Stitches is her floss tube. She shared that she was starting a stitch along, I guess, a sal with this a couple months ago, and I decided to go ahead and start it. And I shared a little bit of what I did last month. I'm using a 16 count beautiful beige, and I'm using Krynic, 5 different colors from Krynic. And from where I was last month, I was able to get it a little further along. I've come up and over and done some of the border. I finished the little bird, so that was kind of exciting because I think I mentioned last month just finishing little motifs. It kind of excites me to keep going, and it's like a small finish. So that's where I'm at on the Slava. I was able to put in all those stitches, which I was very pleased to be able to do. So that was another one that I worked on in April. Try to keep some assembly here without getting too messed up. It's easier to find everything if it's all in the same bag. So I'll just set them here and put them away later. And 2 more projects that I worked on last month. One that's still getting closer and closer to a finish, but still not there, is Baby It's Cold Outside. And I'm not sure what I did with the chart, but it's pretty much shows most of it here, so I'll just share. I'm not sure how well the white is showing up on my camera. Hopefully well. I didn't quite finish the words yet. I still got to finish the word fireplace, and I think it says roar down here. But when I started last time, the roof had not too many over, and I think I've done like 5 or 6 rows further across the roof, so it's getting there. I'm not sure what everybody else used as their white, but on this fabric, which is oatmeal, and it's a 14 count also, it kind of blends in. So when I go to do all these snowflakes, I think I'm going to use a brighter white just so that you can see it a little. I mean, you've even got snow underneath the house here, and it's just really hard to see. And I'm debating on whether to take them out and redo it in the white, but I'll wait till I do the snowflakes and then decide if I want to pull out those white and redo it. But for now, I'll just keep going until I get done with the roof and decide once I start on the snowflakes. But that's where I've been at this past month. Like I said, I just get excited to get closer to a finish, so I keep a few of my projects sitting around the house and pick them up when I see it and just try to put as many stitches in as I can. This one was started back in February of 2020, so we're going on 2 years for a finish, but hopefully maybe this year, by the end of the year for Christmas, I'll have it to decorate my house with. At least I hope. That's the hope. And then the other one that I worked on this month, so I actually worked on quite a few, which I was very pleased with, even a few stitches, especially driving back and forth to our lake lot. I tend to bring these smaller ones especially in the car, and I'll share with you one of the gadgets that I like to use that I found this past month that I forgot I had. So to be able to see the stitches, especially on these projects with 40 count, it came in handy. But I think I shared that I was doing hashtag Stitch Kit Pass, which is with Hillary from Rustic Thread Stitching. But she sent me the one that she was doing with all the little the pattern as well as the flosses. So I'm not sure if these are DMC or not, but if Hillary, if you see this, and maybe you can let me know. It didn't say in the package if these were DMC, but she just kitted it all up for me, put it on a little tag, and then sent me the pattern as well as the small piece of 40 count fabric. I think it says on here, yeah, Lakeside Linens 40 count fabric in a neutral color. And I started it, and I don't know if you can see. I'm not sure if this is upside down or not. I'm pretty sure this is how it's going. Maybe it's this way. I can't remember, but I did this side border and I'm coming over here. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. And then I started some yellow flowers over here. So I'll just keep going at it a little at a time, and when I get this done, I will hopefully find another person that's interested in stitching this, and I will send it off to them and just have fun sharing it with other people that are enjoying stitching together. So this is also, the pattern is called Tulip Mini Bouquet, and it's by looking to see, oh, Jeanette Douglas. So yeah, this is a Jeanette Douglas pattern, so I don't know if I got close enough for you or not, but it's a really cute little flowered pattern. And I will probably finish it as a pillow since it's so small, but that got worked on this month too, which I was excited to be able to have more than just the Wipgos that I've been working on. So those were the other things. What I mentioned about the Gadget, I'll just share that really quick. It's they're called Mag Eyes, and these little lenses pop out and you can actually put in different strengths. This is the highest one. I think it's a 2.75, which I love. And the other thing that's great about these is, I mean, these are like paperweight. They're just so light. I do have another pair of magnifiers that are like glasses, and I think a few other people that I've watched that have them, they all say, and I agree, that they're so heavy on the nose, it literally hurts after a while, so you can only wear them for a little bit. But the light on them is great, and I love that. But if I was to choose over those and these, I would go with these, even though they're plastic. But they have, it's like a visor. Probably looks silly here, but I'll show you. What you can do is, if you're working and you're looking down, you can also, if you wear glasses and need to look and see something else, you still have all this space here to look at your pattern. And then you can also flip them up if you're not using them. So they're just really easy, and you don't get hot around your head. Just certain things, for me anyway, if I wear a hat, I really get hot, but being a visor, it's really helpful. So I thought I would share that with you, and I'll try to link where I got these off of Amazon if anybody's interested. But they came with 2 other lenses, so you get 3 lenses with them depending on your strength. But I do readers as well as magnifiers because my eyesight's not pretty bad, but it's where I have to, when I'm reading, I have to have glasses on. So these ones really magnify the 40 counts for me really well. And of course you can't read with those, so that's why I do them both. So that was what I wanted to share in that regard. And you're probably wondering what all this is behind me. That was the other thing that I've been doing this last month, is just between getting my fabrics organized in areas where I can just go and pull a fabric and know what count it is. That's over on the other side. Maybe I'll take some pictures and try to insert those of how I've organized my fabrics. But last month I've been trying to get all my patterns, and not just with cross stitch, but with crochet, sewing, a little bit of knitting, and that's basically it for my booklets, where I either print off paper copies and put them in sleeves, which is part of my haul today. I had to, of course, buy more sleeves because of the patterns. Of course, this is similar to collecting cross-stitch patterns. I collect a lot of sewing and other craft projects where you print them off of your printer and then you have them and you can just go to your books and look for things. Some of my books have finished crochet projects that I've done in the past that I just keep track of things that I've made. But I've been working on those all this past month and feeling really good about how they are now, whereas they were in piles everywhere. And I've just done mostly, that's kind of what kept me busy this past month. And then lastly, I just want to share my plans for the rest of the month. A lot of people are doing what is it called? Just mania, where you just start a bunch of things. Well, I'm trying to avoid that, so I think I mentioned last month, I enjoy just kitting things up and having them, like say a year from now, if I want to stitch something, instead of going and getting the chart and buying the fabric and buying all the flosses, I want to have it all kitted up so where I can just pull it out and stitch it. So I think last Flosstube I shared 3 of them that I had kitted up, and I've started in the last 3 or 4 days, putting others together. Don't think I will share all of them, but just to kind of show you what I'm doing. Last month, one of the Flosstubers, Tanya, had sent me in the mail the Teresa Kogut booklet with the fabrics and the flosses. So my thought was to make sure that the colors and the fabrics that she sent all go together, and then put that into a Ziploc bag and then file with a card showing what it goes to, so that I know I can just pull it and start it whenever. So I've done that to quite a few in the last few days. I think there's 7 or 8 in this little basket here. A few of the others that I'm doing, the Fruit of Plenty from Modern Folk Embroidery, I've kitted that up with the threads as well as the 40 count Zweigart fabric. So that way the things that I have in my craft room have a kit to go with it. I don't want it just sitting and not being used. I want to know that it goes with something. So I thought my month of May I would call it Kit Mania and just kit up all that I have. Other than that, just a little bit of haul that I've done, and it's mostly goes with either sewing, a little bit of cross stitch supplies that I needed, and I think that's about it. But Kimberbell is some fabric for project bags that I think I mentioned. I'd like to make some project bags to go with some of the ones that I am currently working on. So I picked this up on Amazon. It's 5 yards of fusible backing that will help with the stiffening of the bag, so I'm looking to do that. And you probably wonder, a tape measure? I found a pattern on one of my quilting programs that you use the actual tape measure, and I don't know if you can hear this, but it's like a snap bag. Instead of a zipper, you sew it into the fabrics, and it opens and closes that way instead of zipping it. So I'm going to attempt that. That's one of the things I needed to purchase. And then I had put in an order a while ago when Pat Sloan, one of the quilters, had a new book coming out, so I had to get that since I've been collecting most of her quilt books. And I don't know if you all watch Liz Matthews' Flosstube or not, but she shared some quilts that she had been making, and these are table toppers, but I loved some of the ones she was sharing, and I might just have to try with the fabrics that I purchased. I think I purchased them in April, so I'm not sharing those this time. I think I did last time, but I have enough to make a quilt, and I'm just excited to get that started. If not here in the next few months, hopefully by the end of the year, around Christmas time, I'm thinking that might be a good time to pull all that stuff out. I found these for like $1 at Walmart, and I think they're for photos, but a lot of people talking that I've seen for cross-stitch supplies, like your flosses and things, I'm thinking I might use these to put them in little baggies and then punch holes and keep them in there that way. So I did get 2 of those. I also needed some more rings. This is what I use on my flosses for DMC, and I was getting low, so I picked these up on Amazon. I forget how much they were, but I can link that underneath so that y'all, if you're interested in that kind of a system. I also use them in my file system for my over-dyed flosses. I just put them all on rings by number or by alphabetized name. And like I said, I've been working on all my notebooks, so I just needed more sleeves. So I still have plenty here. I think I only have one notebook over there that hasn't been filled with these, so I still have that left to do. So that was a little bit of haul that I got. And lastly are 2 different kind of hoops. I had been watching, I think it was Needlebug mentioned Morgan hoop, and I forget the name of this other one. It's just, my mind just went blank. One's called Morgan. I'll link it below. Sorry guys, but I didn't realize when I bought it how large it is. But I am kind of glad that it's large because there's a lot of room here to stitch on. I do use Q-snaps, but years ago I used to use the round wooden hoops, and I enjoyed how tight they were. So I'm hoping that these are similar to that, and I'm wanting to put my Wipgo projects for this month on. I think I can use both of them. It just depends on how large the project is. I'll have to look and see, because this one might need to be a bigger project because I didn't realize how big it was when I ordered it. But it looks like it would really tighten your fabric on there really strong. And then the Morgan hoop it's more flat, and it looks like it would snap in there nicely. So I did get those 2 hoops off Amazon. I kind of, you know, am in that point now, and I'll share that here in a second with my life updates, but buying things will really diminish here in the next, for the next year at least, where I won't be able to spend as much. But why I bought those hoops is, I think I mentioned this project earlier that was done in the 80s. It was a kit, and it came with this, and I don't know the name of it, but it's really rubbery. I mean, you can see that's rubbery. And then the hoop is plastic. Oh goodness. It's late, guys. We'll let that finish. Yes, it's 11 o'clock. Anyway, I like that this is rubbery because when you put the fabric on here, and it just clamps right on there, and it's really tight. So when I seen that, I was hoping that this one was like that, but it's not. It's plastic. So I do have a few hoops that I'm going to kind of look into using a little more and see if I like them, and I'll report back. But if anybody knows from the Stitchables pattern that I mentioned with the kitty cat, it all came together. So if you've ever seen these and you know what they are, I'd maybe comment in my comments and let me know, because I would love to get some more of these, and even bigger than this small size. All I see that's written on here says Taiwan. So I'm just curious if anybody had ever seen anything like that before, where the hoop is rubber and then the insert is plastic, and it just fits right around there. But I really liked it in this project, and I think I'm going to have fun finishing other smalls using it too. Other than that, my last haul was I think I went to an antique shop somewhere, was looking at some things, and couldn't pass this up, especially with my little grandbaby. But they found a little photo album book that says Grandma's Baby Girl, so I am going to put some pictures in here. I've been trying to be really good about every month updating, and if you watch my Facebook or my Instagram, you'll see pictures of my grandbaby. But on the 3rd of every month, we try to get a picture of her, so that after a couple years, we'll have, 2-year-old, how each month she looked. So we're excited just to be doing those kind of memory type things, and I'll look forward to keep sharing with y'all how she's growing. Other than that, my life updates, I just wanted to run over real quick because I appreciate those that stuck with me this long. If you're not interested in life updates, I totally understand. I hope you all have a great night. And for those that want to hear how things are going in my life, I'll just share real quickly a few of the things that's been happening. Let's see here. Did I drop it? Because I don't see it. I wrote down what I was going to share, and I don't see it here because I'm all confused. Anyway, mainly, I think last time I shared that my husband had fallen and broken a couple ribs. He's healing much better, and I appreciate those comments that people said they would, hope he would heal up, and he has, and I appreciate those thoughts. I personally, on the 17th, have a sinus surgery that they're going to be doing, so hopefully my plans of stitching and crafting and organizing, like I've mentioned, will be able to happen this next month. But I've had headaches in the past and didn't realize the issue until last year around September. I went and had, one of those scans, and they showed that I have a deviated septum that they can fix, but it's almost like that balloon system that they go in and widen your sinuses. So I am going to experience that this month. It's actually a week from this past Tuesday, so on the 17th I'll be doing that. It's a day surgery, so thankfully I don't have to be in the hospital. But I think that first week I might not be feeling up to par. So hopefully I'll go through that okay. Other than that, last Friday, I just wanted to mention, I shared some pictures last month of what we're doing out at our lake lot, and my husband had found a builder that had plans that looked like something we would be interested in doing, so we sat down with them last Friday and ended up signing a contract to build a lake house out where we're putting the garage right now. So Lord willing, and you know, I'd also ask for prayers every step of the way that we're going. We just don't want to rush into it, but also want to know if this is what we should be doing. So currently that's kind of the path we're on, and we are excited about it. We're anxious to get out there for retirement once my husband's done in another probably 4 years before he retires. But if all goes to plan, they're saying we could be having keys to a house in a year. So because of that, that's why I've been kind of a little scattered. It's like trying to organize here, things that I have, what do I want to take when I do go, and all that. It's just, it's a lot, and I don't want to feel overwhelmed either. So I'm just wanting to share that's kind of where we're at right now. It's not a bigger house than one we're in, but it's more spacious, which is wonderful in my regard for crafting and everything. You know, I'll definitely have a bigger space to store things, but I still don't want to take things that I'm not using either. So between now and next year, if this is what happens and we end up out there, I'm hoping I can organize it enough to say, will I use this? And if not, try to pass it on to someone that could use it other than just collecting things. Like even people talk about under the bed boxes, and if they could stitch this before they die, you know. I don't know if I could do all these projects before then either, but it's fun, but it's also, you got to be realistic about it too. So because of that, I think the spending mode has also been just, we're not going to do that anymore, just because I have plenty enough to do with what I have already. So just going to enjoy it and look forward to what the next year brings. But I just wanted to share that with everyone, and appreciate you staying with me this long. And I think because I have so much each month, if time allows, I'm going to try to come in the middle of the month, maybe every 2 weeks if I can, just to share maybe an update, so that I'm not sharing so much at the 4 weeks, and that way I won't be on here as long. But like I said in the past, I've only wanted to be on here 45 minutes, so hopefully as things progress we can get better at this, and I am new at it. Like I said, it's only my 5th Flosstube, but I appreciate you coming back each time, and I look forward to next month, and hopefully I can stick with my goals. I'm still online with my Wipgo, so that was my intended reason for even starting a Flosstube, was to just keep at it, a stitch at a time. So thank you again, and you guys all have a great month, and happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there, and we will talk to you next time.